Everything Wellness Show. We're here, we discuss everything wellness. I am Mark Dionisio. I am the Health and Wellness Manager here for St. Lucie County Public Schools. And back by popular demand, I have with me Dr. Amir Rahemi. I wanted to make sure I said it right. Thank you for joining us again.
Yeah, pleasure to be here.
And, so every month we try to cover a different wellness topic. And every month there's a different observance.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, there's many per month, as you probably know. But this month in September, I want to really discuss self-care.
Right on.
With self-care, it's not just about bubble baths and the gym and this and that. It's about so many other aspects of care for ourselves that maybe not a lot of people know about. And I figured, who better to talk about it than you yourself?
Absolutely, yeah. A really broad topic, and super excited to chat about it today. When I think about self-care, right, we define it for our patients at Butterfields as really the intentional practice of supporting your physical strengths, your mental health, as well as your emotional health.
Absolutely.
So I think that's a great way to encompass it, but it's such a broad topic, right? So if you really think about self-care, it could encompass anything from lifestyle, health care, mental health care, the way you sleep, the way you eat, the way you move, and the way you train. And it's this really broad topic that people conceptually know that they need to focus in on, but can sometimes be too big to even know where to begin. So look forward to chatting about that today.
Perfect. Now, when it comes to self-care, what are some of the things that you practice for self-care? Because, everybody's self-care is going to look a little bit different.
Yeah, 100%. So the way that I try to explain it to patients, and you're absolutely right, everybody is going to be different. We're at different stages in our life. We have different healthcare conditions. We have different needs, right, that need to be met for ourselves and for our family. But I like to really begin with patients to understand why it's important to focus in on it, right? And so, we talk about creating routines, right? Routines that can fuel energy for your week, for your day and for your week, that will make you a more resilient human for the inevitable curveballs that are going to come our way. It will ultimately promote longevity, right? And not just years in your life, but life in your years, as we say.
Yeah.
So we really want to crystallize that for people to help them understand that by focusing in on this, you can, essentially show up, right, for more people and experiences that really matter.
Yeah, that's true.
So once we can establish how important this is to the quality of your life, they're usually ready to dig in and have a conversation. But it's a monumental field, so how do we break it down?
Right.
So really, I like to develop a framework for people. There's really 4 categories. So movement and exercise, sleep and rest, nutrition and fuel, right, as we would call it.
Absolutely.
And then stress reduction and fun. So I think maybe we can frame our conversation around those 4 different pillars.
Sure.
And at the end, too, we're going to have a tool that can help you guys that you can download for free to continue the conversation and help you to develop your own self-care plan. And I know creating a self-care plan kind of seems like a
big task, it sounds like.
A big task,
Yeah.
and something that most people, it's not cool, right?
Yeah.
I don't have time for a self-care plan. But as I always tell my kids, right, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah, I like that.
And life is so busy. You got moms and dads out there running to baseball practice and football practice and trying to do the best job they can at work, and they're showing up for their students or their people on their team, and they just really are not putting themselves first. And I understand all the reasons that they do this, but if you would take 30 minutes and put together a good self-care plan,
absolutely,
it would go a long way.
This is what they would be able to download.
Yeah, essentially, this is a tool. So you can go to butterfieldrx.com, go right down to the bottom. There's a menu that says self-care.
Perfect.
You click on it, and you can download that, shoot it right over to your printer, text it to a friend.
Nice.
It's available there for you.
All right, so let's do this. Let's go through this as if we're setting up a self-care plan for ourselves. So we'll go through each section, and let's discuss what we do for each, and maybe that'll give our viewers an idea of how maybe they can set it up going through.
I like it. I like it. Cool. So, if we start in the movement and exercise piece, this is going to look extremely different. Even for you and me, it looks different, right? So I've known you for a long time. I know that you spend a lot of time in the gym. You're really focused on strength and muscle building capability. I love that. Want to be you one day, right? But I don't necessarily have as much time to go to the gym. So recognizing that everybody's different in what they would put in that category. But I think what you and I probably both agree on is that some level of exercise every day is important.
Absolutely. So if somebody is, doesn't go to the gym or doesn't really exercise and they live more of a sedentary lifestyle, I would say, okay, let's start off with just walking.
Yeah.
Maybe tracking your steps, maybe getting in some movement 3 to 4 times per week, 30 minutes each time, and then slowly, gradually building off of that, maybe adding in a little bit of resistance exercise. But the main thing is, especially for somebody who is beginning, is to try to make the activities fun, right? Because a lot of people think of exercise and cardio, they think of walking on a treadmill or jogging, where you can do so many different things to elicit that activity, right? So that would be somebody starting. For somebody like me or for you, for example, who's, exercised for a certain amount of years, it's mainly keeping the consistency.
Yeah.
Still finding ways to change it up and still enjoy it, right? And know the benefits that are coming from it, right? So like my routine obviously is gonna look different than your routine. Our schedules are different. My goals are different. Your goals are different, but that's okay. And it's gonna look different for everybody.
Yeah, 100% agree. And so, like, for a vast majority of the recommendations that we make from a pharmacy perspective when we see people at Butterfields, a lot of them, by and large, don't have a lot of experience lifting in the gym and whatnot. And if they're interested in that, there are amazing trainers out there that can help you and grow you and keep you safe and developing that way. But yeah, so I'm kind of in line with you. It's like, let's work up to 30 minutes a day, every day. Walking is a great start. I'm 42 years old. I have been working out for a long time. I still walk every single day. 30 minutes. Been doing it with some ruck plates, which is essentially just adding weight to you while you walk. And so, I think a lot of people know that when we talk about getting in shape, we want to look good, right? We talk about getting in shape. So we're not talking about health. We're just talking about looking good. And we know that it's 80 to 90% diet, 10 to 20% exercise, right? So people have really come alive to that fact. You're not going to outwork a bad diet and look amazing.
Right.
But when it comes to health, like your longevity and your ability to put off disease, they're equally important, diet and exercise, right? You might not get abs right away from working out, but it is incredibly beneficial for your body, for your organ systems, for just operating the body in a proper way. So it's equally important, and that's what I'd really like to stress to people. At minimum, you should be doing 30 minutes a day. If you do need to work your way up to it, do that. A walk is a great first place.
I like to get some type of cardio movement in almost daily. So I'll do 20 minutes. I have a stair mill in my garage. So I'll do that daily. 20 minutes at least first thing in the morning. For me, it just works. It kind of sets my day off the right way for me. And then, 4 to 5 times per week, I like to try to do some type of split routine, whether it's upper, lower, or push-pull. But again, those are my goals, my aspirations, so it's going to look a little different. But it's really just, like I said before, the consistency of it, right? I mean, that's really where you're going to see the results. And yeah, it is, of course, we want to exercise and be healthy, but to look good, like you said. But the movement in general is just so beneficial for overall health, like you said.
Our bodies were made to move, right, and to do work. And in today's modern society, we've got really good at creating efficiencies where we don't have to do a whole lot of physical work in order to get work done. So a lot of, mental, emotional work, of course. But before we move on to the next pillar, I think let's just zoom back out for a second. And everybody skips this, and we kind of did too, right? So if you look at the top of the tool, it says, why is this important that I take care of myself? And what are the things that I want to be able to do in this life? And so often in life, we just jump into, okay, what do I need to do to be better? But if you really take some time to self-reflect about what is it you want to be able to do this year, what is it you want to be able to do in 5 years and 10 years, and why is that important to you? It can really give discipline and motivation to what your tasks are. So for me, I talk about my son, AJ. I want to go to his 40th birthday party, and I want to, walk and dance and laugh and have fun. But by the numbers, statistically, I should be gone by then, right? I'll be over 80 years old. Typical lifespan in America for a male, is not, I think it's 76.
It's gone down
76.4. Right? So by the numbers, I will not be at his 40th birthday party. And that hit me hard because he was born on my 40th birthday.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And so for me, that's something really important. Of course, I have other things I want to do in 5 years and 10 years. And then I think about the type of dad that I want to be and the husband that I want to be. And if you would see my self-care plan, those are the items that are on there. So just just don't want to skip that why it's so important that we're doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. I feel like everybody needs a why. And that's really going to help set up the framework to this here, which I like. I really do. So we discussed the movement and the exercise, and something that's equally as important, I feel, I'm going to just move over to the right here, but the sleep and the rest.
Yeah.
I mean, we know on average we should be getting anywhere from, 6 to 8 hours of sleep per night. 8 is ideal,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, lifestyle is going to play a key factor in that. But to stress on the importance of sleep and rest for recovery, I feel is something that really we need to highlight, because without the sleep and the rest, if we're moving a lot more, the recovery is not going to be there. And we can actually end up in a worse spot, I would say.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So I went to pharmacy school 2006 to 2010, and I don't think we got 1 ounce of training on the importance of promoting sleep in our clients. Certainly we learned how the drugs, induce sleep, and which ones were for helping people fall asleep and which ones for helping them stay asleep. But nobody really stressed the importance of sleep on overall health. I talked to medical doctors, right, and they had the same experience. There was just really no focus on good quality sleep and how it impacts your health care. Now, fast forward to that last week, I'm in a diabetes education class, right, getting recertified for next year. And they are stressing it like, I would say they dedicated 20 or 30 minutes just to how important sleep is in managing and preventing diabetes. And I've seen this in my own life. So from time to time, I'll wear like what they call a CGM, which is just a fancy term for a sticker, so to speak, that will tell you what your average blood glucose is at any given time, right? And I've got young kids, so they'll wake me up in the middle of the night and say, hey, I had a nightmare, this is going on, or I'll hear a sound, which is always them. And I get up in the middle of the night, it disrupts my sleep. And the way that my blood sugar elevates, right, is incredible. And so they say now that if you are somebody who stays up late, like up to 2 a.m., whether you're gaming or playing poker or watching, football or whatever it might be, it can actually create insulin resistance within the body. And as your body becomes insulin resistant, this is the pathway forward to diabetes, which is the pathway forward to other chronic diseases, increased risk of cardiovascular disease, cancer, everything else. Sleep is incredibly foundational to your health and wellness. It's when your body resets, right? So we talked about exercise and breaking the muscle down. We rebuild that at night. Your mind consolidates all the information that you learned in that day and stores it into long-term memory. Your body literally cleans itself out at a cellular level. And if you are not having good sleep, tremendous negative impacts. You will see things like high blood pressure, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, all types of things down the road. The one thing that we try to coach clients on is that you should get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, and it should be on a pretty regular schedule, whether it's Monday through Friday or Saturday and Sunday. There shouldn't be this big shift, right? Like on the weekend, you stay up till 2 in the morning and sleep in, because essentially your body thinks that you're time traveling, right? Like you're going to Europe every weekend and coming back. That's exhausting. So 7 to 8 hours consistently. I know people say, hey, I can run on 5 hours just fine. No, I see your blood work, I see the medications you're on. You actually tell me how stressed out you are. You can't do that. So 7 to 8 hours consistent. The cooler the bedroom, the better. Right? So it's actually, I think it's 68 degrees is ideal.
68 to 70, I believe, is the ideal temperature for sleep.
Which for a lot of people, it's just not affordable to cool their house down to 68 degrees. There is some ways you can circumvent it. I use something called a chili pad.
Oh, that goes on the mattress.
It actually goes on the mattress, and you can dial it up with your phone to exactly the temperature you want. So I'll drop it down to 69 degrees, and it'll cool the bed to that temperature. And then you can actually set it to wake you up. It'll go to like 115 degrees, so you're just so dang uncomfortable.
I like that.
That you want to get out of the bed and work out.
I like that. I like that. And also, too, when we're talking about consistency and trying to set up a schedule for bedtime, I mean, obviously, our day is going to play a little bit of a factor into actually when we're falling asleep. But I feel like if we start developing a routine as far as maybe shutting down your phone or getting off the TV or putting the tablet down and kind of just laying down in bed, maybe reading a book or doing something where you're not putting so much stress on the eyes and really, getting your mind working, just trying to relax a little bit. Even if you get into bed at the same time almost every night,
Yeah.
eventually you'll start falling asleep the same time every night.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. It's like find something that's calming to you. For some people, it could be watching TV. There's like mixed reviews about light and blue light. Some people say, hey, I can't watch TV or I can't be on my phone. Other people like, I watch TV and I fall asleep fine.
I do. I'm one of those.
Yeah, but I think it is about doing something that's not taxing on the mind. You're not reading the news, the devastating news that comes out every day. You're not watching a murder mystery, on television. You're doing something that's more relaxing and doesn't stress you, for sure. And then, for myself and for a lot of patients that we work with, there are some supplements that can really help you sleep. So magnesium being a really big one. And so we recommend a product called Mag Change. It's a triple magnesium blend, but essentially it helps to calm the nervous system down, calm the muscles down, just help you to relax and go into that deep sleep. And then for some clients, they find that they need a little bit extra help. And so we have another compounded product that we make that's completely natural. There's no prescription needed for it. But it's a combination of melatonin and chamomile and GABA and L-theanine. And that seems to do a really, really good job, especially for people in high-stress environments.
Sure.
I'm talking police, firefighters, military, school teachers.
Absolutely,
And so there is some supplementation that can help you to get a better night's rest too.
And now when we're talking about the magnesium, that is a specific magnesium. I mean, we don't want somebody taking magnesium citrate and then trying to go to bed because that's not going to work too well.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really about the absorbability, right? So the ability to get it out of the stomach and into the body. And so there's certain types of magnesium that can do that. And then once it's in the body, we talk about bioavailability, which is a fancy word for just saying like how available is that magnesium to your cells. So the product Mag Change has all of it is highly absorbable, right? So it's not going to create GI side effects like diarrhea or run into the restroom. So it's all highly absorbable, but then some has a preference for muscle tissue. And then some has the ability to actually cross the blood-brain barrier and help to calm the mind down. And as we know from previous episodes, magnesium is required for over 300 reactions in the body. So processes that it takes your body to run efficiently and correctly. Magnesium is a cofactor that you must have, and a majority of people are deficient, so that helps a ton.
And speaking of deficiencies and vitamins, for the next topic, I guess, would be the nutrition and fuel.
Nutrition and fuel.
So it's a good way to segue right into that. I mean, obviously, the nutrition plays a huge role in overall health in general, right?
So a lot of emotional baggage when it comes to diet and exercise and fads and getting into shape. And I think this is where you can probably really lean in and help here. If we look at a healthcare perspective, for me, it's always been around how do we find caloric balance, at a healthy weight, right? So that's the biggest thing that we need to help people do. And so, I always say that, the amount of calories you take in is going to be how much you weigh. The type of macros, the distribution of macros is going to be how you look. And then the micronutrient quality in the food is going to be how you feel, right?
Absolutely.
So it's a really great way to define it. And it's different for everybody. For me, I could probably stand to lose a few more pounds. Over the past couple of years, I've lost about 25 pounds, consistently putting in a really good self-care routine. For some individuals, they're at the perfect weight. It's just about like, hey, how do I find the right balance of calories and then the breakdown of macros that are appropriate for them. So when you have the macronutrient conversation with people, how do you approach it? How do you go about it? What are some parameters that they can think about for an ideal weight?
Well, generally, if I'm doing a nutrition consultation with somebody, I will go over their macronutrient intake, right? And when we're talking about macronutrients, we're talking about the proteins, the carbs, and the fats. And a lot of factors play a role into that, right? So it's height, age, weight, sex, and activity level. And the activity level plays actually a really big role in that. The more active you are, the more you need to eat. A lot of people don't realize that. They think the more active you are and the less they eat, they're going to lose weight, which is true in the beginning until they hit that plateau. And everybody knows the word plateau. And then the body just starts to hold on to everything. So when I'm doing a nutrition consultation and we're talking about macronutrients, the number one macronutrient I harp on is the protein. Because it's going to keep them fuller longer, it's going to aid in recovery, and actually your body's metabolism works a little bit harder to break down the protein than it does the carbs and the fat. Carbs and fat are very important as well for optimal hormone function, brain clarity, overall energy levels, right? Good complex carbs, and good healthy fats. I mean, having a combination of all three of those, I think, especially at a balanced approach, is the way to go, right? So like my caloric intake is going to be different than yours because you're taller than me. Your activity level is probably a little bit different than mine. So it's going to be a little bit different. Now, when you look at like ADA guidelines, it'll say, you know, a male should have, I believe it's 2,000 or 2,200 calories per day, and a female's at 1,800 calories a day.
Yeah.
That's very broad, right? And again, everybody's different. So it has to be more of an individualized approach when it comes to macronutrient intake. A lot of times, too, I mean, you can go as far as tracking each individual macronutrient. But to me, I feel like if somebody's never really tracked calories before or has done anything like that, I think it's a little complicated. A lot of times at the end of the night, you end up with 4 grams of fat, 16 grams of protein, and 3 carbs. And you're like, well, what am I going to eat to like close out that gap, right?
Yep.
It will drive people nuts. What I say is just focus on the caloric intake and the protein.
Yeah.
Protein being the most important macronutrient. And at the end of the day, each macronutrient stands for a calorie, right?
Yep.
So like, you know, 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories, right? A gram of fat is 9 calories, right? So it all is going to play a role into that final number at the end of the day. And really it's just getting to that number. And if you know you're wanting to lose weight, it's being in a deficit from your maintenance calories. And if you put yourself in a slight deficit, you will lose weight.
Absolutely.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and it can be a complex issue, and this is a great time to seek and get help, right? Whether it's doing
Absolutely.
a nutrition consult or reading and doing your research online. You know, your self-care plan is your plan, but it doesn't mean that people can't come in and help you within the plan for sure.
Absolutely.
So for me, what I would put down under the nutrition and fuel is say, you know, I want to get 200 grams of protein a day. That is on my list. 200 pounds, my ideal body weight that I'm shooting for, right, on my frame. I do, you know, 1 gram of protein per pound of ideal body weight. That helps me move in the direction that I want to. And then I don't track my fats or carbs, but, you know, when I'm feeling my best and when I'm on point with my self-care plan, I say that I don't have refined carbohydrates, right? And not that they're necessarily bad for everybody. They just don't make me feel the best, right? So I'm not having sugar. I'm not having bread. I'm not having pasta. I'm not having... I don't know, whatever else refined carbs are. I'm not having candy, right?
Candy,
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And so when I do those things, when I consistently, and you bring this word up a lot, consistently, a self-care routine is all about consistency. I do not have these items. I feel better. My biomarkers of health are better. My weight is better, right? Closer to what ideal is. I've got better energy, and I'm able to go out and do more things that I love. And I also... You know, there's this whole mental, emotional side to looking and feeling better. Like I'm more confident to go out and do things when I'm executing on my movement, on my sleep, and on my nutrition. I'm much more likely to go to an event or a party and have a good time and feel confident in myself.
Absolutely.
And I think we all feel that way, but we don't talk about it a lot in the healthcare space, but it's a really big deal.
Yeah, and for me, if I were to look at this section here for the nutrition, one of my goals would be, and it's something I started implementing a little bit more recently, is I always harp on having more whole foods, more foods that are natural, that doesn't have so many preservatives and additives in there, and really trying to get away from that. In the past, it would be more convenient for me to buy, let's say, like an Uncle Ben's cup of rice, because I know how many calories are in there and I can track it easily. But when you peel back and look at the ingredients, you're like, wow, I should just be having the rice and look at it from that standpoint.
It's something about simplicity, I think, and and this is not scientific, but I think simplicity is easier for the body to process, right? Your liver has to process everything that you put in. So if you put in something that's got 17 ingredients, it's got to find a way to detoxify and process 17 items, versus if you put in 1 item, maybe rice and butter, right? It only has 2 items to process, and it's a very complex process to break things down and to eliminate waste.
If you haven't been to Butterfields, you should definitely go and check it out. So let's take a look at, we just went there at the beginning of the week, and just going to go over some things that we highlighted and some things that Amir is doing in the community.
Butterfields Pharmacy is the oldest pharmacy establishment in St. Lucie County. We've been serving the county for almost 75 years, so we're really excited about that. Customers describe it like stepping back in time to a really small town pharmacy feel. Personalized service is at the heart of everything that we do. We're a traditional pharmacy here, so that means anything that you would fill at a corner store pharmacy, we will do for you. In addition, though, we also do medical supplies. We do custom compounding, and we work very closely with Treasure Coast Hospice to fulfill all hospice meds throughout the county. Then we have a lot of external partners. We work very closely with the school system and the county as well to deliver immunizations and other healthcare programs. So if we look beyond traditional pharmacy in the health and wellness space and in the self-care space, it's an exciting time right now. So we're utilizing body composition testing and readout. We're doing individualized hormone testing, blood testing, saliva testing to really help empower patients to understand where they currently are, why they're feeling the way that they're feeling. We're truly interested in getting at the root of health, right? And so we know that an ounce of prevention goes a long way. And so if we can encourage patients early on in the process to take action towards improving their own health. We've partnered with a company called Fit Manager. So not only do we have the body composition testing equipment here at Butterfields, but we also have our own app that we will give to and empower the patients with. And so they'll come in, they'll get the traditional weight, but as you and I both know, weight doesn't tell the whole story about what's going on internally. So we're actually able to measure the amount of muscle mass, the amount of fat, and then also visceral fat. And as you know, visceral fat is that fat that's around the organs that can be extremely dangerous and cause disease, right? And so if we can help them see that in a visual way, we can help them make those right decisions or even keep them consistent on the medications doctors have prescribed, in order to put them in a better position. The whole thing takes about 10 minutes to run the test, and then you'll work with a pharmacist one-on-one for anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. They'll answer their questions, review the results with you. And then if you choose, you can actually set some time aside to work with him on a one-on-one coaching plan. Everything from setting macronutrients to making sure that you're on the right supplementation to help you what's going on. Typically, we find that people sometimes struggle to lose weight because one, they're not sleeping well at night, or they're not handling or dealing with stress well, or the obvious, right? They're just eating food of poor quality or poor nutrition or overeating at times. And so we're here to help them through that process. Sometimes, like medical professionals at the doctor's office, they just don't have time to ask these questions and really counsel patients in the right way. And so we're trying to really come in and fill that void here in the market for people. Been a pharmacist, or I've been in the pharmacy business for almost 25 years. We've always used traditional over-the-counter supplements. I tell you, I worked at a big box pharmacy for a lot of years, and I was really underwhelmed with the quality of supplements that we offered. Patients would take them, but they weren't getting the desired results, or even the results that we would expect, based off clinical trials. And so when we really looked into the research, we found that a lot of retailers are selling the cheapest, most inexpensive product that they can at the highest price. And over time, they really become exposed. They find out that what they said was in the product wasn't in the product. So when I began compounding, we're a compounding pharmacy. When I began compounding, we were making everything with precision accuracy. And so I went on a mission to find somebody in the country that could help me produce vitamins with precision quality, third-party testing that would actually be the items that we say are in there. And furthermore, I wasn't finding the unique blends that I really liked for my patient base. And so as we do in the industry, we scratch our own itch, so to speak, right? And what was the vitamin that I needed at that moment? And I couldn't find it on the market, so I created it for myself, told a few people about that, and there was a lot of interest in me creating other vitamins. Really, I think the biggest communities that we work in with T1Rx and vitamins is going to be the police, veteran, firefighters, individuals with PTSD and TBIs that we're looking for really unique combinations of supplements and minerals that can help them feel better. The best thing that you guys can do is follow us on the Facebook page. All of our information is on there. About every other day, we'll put up new healthcare content and videos encouraging you guys to live the healthiest life you can. We'll also have partnerships with other prescribers. And again, it's free healthcare information. That is the best. You can also email me at amir@butterfieldrx.com.
Amir, thank you so much again for joining me, and we look forward to having you back. And I'm excited to see what that challenge holds for the community.
Yeah, pleasure to be here as always, and look forward to coming back again.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, brother.